What's up, dude?
What up, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Perfectly clear.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I put my podcast audio into the computer when I do this for a little better. I think it's fine either way. I've done it both.
Yeah.
Bro, your beard is ferocious.
I'm trying to get on your level, bro.
Bro, I just shaved mine. I was afraid of the virus, so
Yeah, I figured it.
I didn't want to be socially judged.
Mm.
Dude, bro, what is new, man? It's good to see your face.
Good to see you. What's new? Let's see. So 1 April, I retired out of the service after 24 years.
Thanks for your service to the country, man.
Yeah, it was, it's one of those things. I came in at 18 and just kind of got sucked into it. And, nothing wrong with doing it. It was fun. But I was over it at the same time. You know what I mean? Like 24 years of doing this, it wasn't the same, right? I did different jobs, but it just gets exhausting. So
for sure, man. How have you been enjoying retirement so far?
It's been good. As being an owner of a gym, that was my retirement plan, man. It's been stressful, right? Like I get out of the service and I'm like, cool, here's your retirement plan. Oh wait, time out.
We're gonna need a head on out on that. Yeah, dude, yeah. It is weird because with us, Corey and I, we just bought the new gym.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like, and when you were in town last, like we were right in the midst of that move and remodel, and man, now it's the total opposite. So we went from being totally bogged down busy to, hey, let's work on every project we haven't had time to do. It's great.
Right. Yeah, it's just a tough spot. I mean, we're in the same, we were going to renew our lease and knock down the wall, and the lady hit us a ridiculous amount of money. So we're actually looking to, move locations during this, or hopefully right after this clears up.
I wonder if now you have better negotiating power on something like that.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to lease something after this?
Right.
During.
And part of the, their rate's a lot better. Their square foot's a lot better than what I pay right now, but it's writing in a clause of like, hey, if it pops up again and we deal with it, COVID-20, like I need to guarantee that there's leniency on the rent, because when we can't bill, we're kind of stuck.
For sure, man. It's a weird spot to be in. Have you had a lot of cancellations, your members?
0 from my location, actually. That's not true. I've had 1. Just 1.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, I got a little bit different demographics. I mean, most of our students are Border Patrol, law enforcement, customs, obviously that Raytheon's a big company out here. So I got quite a few families that they work out there, and, they're teleworking, but they're still getting paid really good money, but for me, I had a couple that, okay, hey, like still charge us. But at the end of the day, like I have a hard time with that, right? Like
I do too, man. I've had some people hit me up and be like, hey, I know I'm not coming, but I want you to run my membership anyway. Yeah, and I've had members say run it for twice. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. It's weird. And I was just, at the same time, like, most of the answers was like, well, I was used to paying for it anyways, and nothing's changed. And, we're grateful for that. But at the end of the day, when it's a couple $100 compared to thousands and thousands, it's devastating.
For sure, man. We've had a few cancellations. Nothing that we're like really worried about. Our mortgage is taken care of. Yeah. They waived April like it never happened because we've just taken possession. Oh, okay. And then for 6 months, our mortgage is paid through just like the type of loan we had with SBA. Yeah. That is, so that's going to alleviate some things. And then we're getting a couple other things, grants and loans taken care of. So we should come out fine. I'm still getting my teaching income. Right. So it's a great time for me to develop my courses, which I'm doing.
No, it's, it's using me. I've been kind of opposite, right? Like I haven't been using my time wisely, but
enjoy it, man. You're retired.
It is what it is. So, and like I said, our location, my business partner, his main location is huge, that running.
Who is that?
David Riley. So, and that's the, the black belt that I joined up with out here, part of Team Sean Hammond's. And, but their business down there, dude, it's 1,100 to 1,300 members, 16,000 square feet. Like, and a lot of the in downtown Tucson, so a lot of the business comes from the college, so it's definitely, it's going to be impact down there for sure.
For sure. Yeah, we're super close to campus in our new location, 8,000 square feet on it. Did I send you the video of the new podcast studio?
I don't think I saw it.
Oh yeah, it's sweet, man. I'm excited. It's big. Tim, the boxer, he's over there working on it right now. He remodeled it for me during this downtime, and we've got it all finished up, and I am excited.
Nice. So, what made you? So I know this is your podcast, but what got you into doing the podcast stuff?
Well, I mean, honestly, I started getting into it when I was getting my undergraduate degree in history. When I was an undergraduate, I did a documentary about my grandpa with Jeff Woods. Woods is going to be our first black belt. You competed against Woods in a jiu-jitsu tournament at white belt, bro. I remember like some sort of weird back take transition where he like had your back from standing, and you like got the whizzer on him, and then like took him down or something. But yeah, ages ago, when you were a white belt and he was a white belt, and now you're a black belt, he's about to be a black belt. But but what got me into it is I did that documentary with him. And then I worked on a project. I was just talking to one of my other professors today who's now retired. He's the guy that wrote one of the authors of the Arkansas history textbook. I converted old VHSs into DVDs for the history department. That was one of my jobs. And then I started filming and editing these, like, we would contact an instructor and we would just film them, do a presentation. And I would like basically make it into like a little documentary. I'd throw an image up when they're talking about this. I'd throw the image up, put a little Ken Burns effect on it.
Right.
So I was making these, so essentially podcasting, and I've always wanted to do more YouTubing, and I've been doing a lot over the last couple of years. And
right.
It's just an interest, man. I mean, I remember when I was in high school and I was writing one of my term papers, I chose the topic, the history of film. It's always been an interest to me.
Right.
And I think that it just naturally came out that I did this. Like, I've always been kind of attracted to podcasting.
Right.
And it's been a pretty cool extension of everything that I got going on. Like, our episode's like going to be a jiu-jitsu centric episode, as I figured that's what we would talk mostly about.
For sure.
I just did a episode with Mr. Dring.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
It was good. We're doing like a big series, maybe as many as 10 episodes, but we just talked about Taekwondo.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing this big MMA Unraveled series with him. Part 1 was Taekwondo Unraveled.
Right.
And we just talked about his whole, so we stayed on topic with that. We're doing Joe Louis next.
Okay, nice.
It's going to be cool. We're going to do like each one is going to be an art.
Right.
So that'll be cool.
Might take you a little while to do all that.
It is. Well, I told him, I said, hey, I'm not in a hurry, because I've wanted to do this with him since I started the podcast. But man, this has been good, actually. And like with me setting up the new studio, I'm going to triple down on bettering doing these distance podcasts like this and start doing podcasts. I mean, like, I won't have to wait for you to be in Little Rock and for me to be not busy and you to be not busy. Here we are, dude. I see your face. It's essentially the same. It's better than talking on the phone.
Yeah. Technology.
It's great. And I think that the future will be a lot more like this. And I'm just going to keep playing around with better methods of doing the distance cast.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, what's new for you in jiu-jitsu, man? I see that you had still been competing a lot. What's going on in your jiu-jitsu life?
Yeah. So 2019 obviously was pretty busy. March time frame. Danny came out, got my black belt.
Congrats, man.
Stayed pretty busy in 2019. Towards the end, I had hernia surgery, inguinal hernia.
I had that same thing, man.
and it kind of, I jumped back into it a little too quick just for my own, like, I was going to
It's
comp
hard.
3 weeks after having the surgery, and it was just rough on me. And I had a super fight after that. Um, so this year, I mean, the goal really for me is actually kind of slow down. Obviously, with the virus, it's changed a lot of things, but slow down, do a couple of the major tournaments. Focus a little bit more on the kids program as far as getting them out to compete, getting the adults out to compete a little bit more, and kind of go from there. I closed out 2019. I had a really fun time at Nogi Worlds. I really enjoy, like, the small tournaments are great, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's, I'd almost rather just referee those, have my students there, and kind of just do the big ones, and let them enjoy some of the smaller ones where I'm more focused on them and not myself.
For sure, man. Competing is it does have a certain level of selfishness to it. That
Yeah.
was something that I was always like torn, and
Yeah.
always still trying to go compete away from my students. But unless it was just like me going with like Mike and a group of people or something, it was like that was the only time it was ever like stress free. Like I
Right.
remember one time competing, and I think we had like 31 of people from the gym competing. And I like coached also, and it's like, dude, that's the type of stuff that really burned me out on it, honestly.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I said, it's nice on the bigger events because, it's a smaller group. It's the hardcore people. When we go to Vegas, we go to California, it's the 5 to 10 people that, we all get ready for it at the same time. So you're not like, it's a small group of us just focused on the end goal.
How far of a drive is that to Vegas for you?
Vegas, right at about 6 hours.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, we've talked about it. It's like a Dallas trip
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. So it's not so bad. I mean, California, obviously, we flew out this year, and, we'll see what happens with Master Worlds this year. But, I still enjoy the competitive aspect. But again, it comes with the risk versus, at the end of the day, what's the reward? There really is no, like, you know, there's no real need to do it, in my opinion. It's more of a personal want. But as an owner, what I noticed after I had the surgery, right, and I'm running the gym, I'm teaching all the kids classes. Luckily I had a striking instructor and I had some help in the adult jiu-jitsu side. But man, you get hurt, you're sidelined, like, it's tough. It's really
It
hard,
is.
to mentally, like, come in there even injured and provide the service that you need to provide. You know,
It is super difficult, man. I've been there myself with that same surgery, and I bounced back, and that's like when I went into a surge of competing. That was like that purple belt, like purple brown
yeah.
belt when I competed the most
Mhm.
was after that surgery. I was competing before that surgery, but it knocked me out for over 6 months, man.
Yeah.
And then I had that autoimmune disease issue.
Right.
Um, so it was something difficult to overcome for me, but I bounced back from it. I felt like pretty hard,
Yeah.
you
No, I
know.
feel good now. I just, initially, like, only giving it 3 weeks to heal because I knew I had events that I didn't want to back out of, so it's like, all right, you just kind of deal with it. But then 6 months after that, I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that as it's flaring up and making me miserable.
It's weird, I started running in November, every week, a few times a week, maybe 2 to 3 times average. There's been a couple of times, and I think it's just the scar tissue breaking down, but like the surgery site, like for a long time, that site was like hardened, like the scar, like you could just feel the scar
Oh
tissue is
yeah.
hard. I think it's just that breaking down.
Yeah.
And I think like running was making my hips move in a way that I just hadn't, like, maybe was breaking it down in a way that it hadn't moved before much since. Because man, I think I ran a couple of 5Ks after my
Right.
surgery, but man, I never ran too much, and I would do the elliptical and stuff, but I never had any sort of a flare up like that. And I don't think it's like tearing or anything. It doesn't feel, it's just like it's almost like a nerve tingling, almost like a scar tissue breaking down.
Yeah. For me, it was, I was training, and it's been a couple months now and it's feeling better now. But one of our guys, purple belt, man, he took my back, put the first hook in, and the other hook came swinging, man, and just heel kicked right on the incision.
Oh, dude, I got kneed on my incision not too long after, and I was so upset. I was upset with myself for like being out there sparring and shit and like putting myself at risk because I didn't recover, man. It was a rough recovery for me. It was like I thought, like they make it seem, and I mean everybody's different, but I like in my research I did not have a good recovery from it. But they're
No,
like, hey, a couple weeks you'll be back, and then like 6 weeks you'll be good, and then like 6 months they give you this little formula. But Stu, 6 months before I could even start to come back.
yeah, no, and that's like I said, I jumped. I mean, literally, I think 8 weeks prior, I had a super fight, Nogi, and I'm like, the guy knee cut past or was going for my back, and I'm like, oh, this is just miserable, But I had a hard time with it too. Like I tell people, like, man, I had really bad anxiety after the surgery because it's like, man, I just was stuck on the couch. I was getting stuck in the house, like I couldn't walk, right? And to me, it was like crushing. I'm just standing in the kitchen, just going crazy, and I'm like, I legit had some attacks.
It was rough on me as well. I didn't experience any anxiety, honestly. But it's weird. I will say though, after I started teaching, I was like, my sleep got all out of whack, and I had like, and I think it was because I was getting a little overweight and having some sleep apnea, dude. But I had these episodes where I had these like nocturnal panic attacks where like I woke up just like in a sweat, like
Just freaking out.
just couldn't turn it off either. Like anytime I've ever got like anxiety, like a feeling like that before, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm not dying. I'm good. Like,
Right.
there's always that inner dialogue of, oh, you're okay. This is just a little, like, you just get a lightheaded or whatever it is. It's, you get that way from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
part of it for me too was, I couldn't, this happened. I got diagnosed, I don't know, maybe early summer. But I couldn't even do my job at work until it was fixed, you know? And then even afterwards, it's like, I had the repair and I was like, just the motivation to go back to flying was like, and I'm about to retire. Do I really need to do this?
yeah.
So mentally, like I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I was like, all right, well, I'm done. So it was kind of nice. I mean, not having that stress of having to fly and work and do all that crap, but it's pretty good.
How much rolling did you get in after the surgery? Very much. Did you say that super fight was after the surgery?
Yeah, super fight was about 2 months afterwards.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I had surgery in September, and then the super fight was in November. So and that
That's
was,
crazy.
I just I jumped right back into it, but man, even preparing for that, like I couldn't. You know what it takes, like the cardio level for an 8-minute match, and just the mental preparation. Like I was having a hard time getting into it, and that's why that was November. I didn't and then I came back out Nogi Worlds in December and like felt great. Just that little bit of extra heal time, but that's why I kind of decided like 2020, give my body a little time to rest and you know do a couple majors and just kick it.
Yeah.
So try to build the business. We're in a weird time right now with once it comes back, so we'll kind of see.
Are you doing anything like Zooms, anything like that to keep your members engaged?
Yeah, so we're in, and there really hasn't been, between the both, because we're doing the Zoom free, right? We're not charging anything. Between our downtown and even our south, like we just don't have a lot of people tuning in. But we're doing a grappling for adults twice a week. I just started kids twice a week. We've got striking 3 days a week, and then fitness 5 days a week.
Are you doing your adult grappling classes?
It's been kind of interesting. We've really been kind of just doing solo drills, keeping them
I've
quick.
done three classes like that.
Yeah, and we're only doing, honestly, like, man, these guys that want to pump out 45 minutes to an hour, like it's just not productive to me. We're literally, the kids and adults, like, man, I'm keeping it like 20, 25 minutes tops, and then we're just recording it, editing it just a little bit, and then, throwing it out there so they can review it later, because
we're doing that.
But yeah, I'm not, Matt's honest, like, opinion is I'm just not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the virtual platform. I'm not going to try to redesign my business model around a virtual classroom. And I see guys doing it. Does it hold value? Sure. But is it jiu-jitsu? I mean, we both kind of know.
I think it's so niche too. It's like, it's going to be like, hey, Jack Toffer's student from the Philippines is going to zoom in to the class he's teaching at Commas tonight. It's
Right.
going to be very specific instances like that. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to be like, hey, I'm teaching a 12-year-old jiu-jitsu and little Preslin's not here, so she's zooming in today. I don't think it's going to become that. I
Yeah.
do, for striking, for shadow boxing,
Yeah.
I like it, but man, for the adult jiu-jitsu, I've done those 3 classes. I'm gonna start trying to think about like I'm gonna do like some live Q&As with Cora, with just us and our gis, and like some like vlog style, like not jiu-jitsu, just like, hey, it's like Mike Page. He was just on the podcast. I just shared it today, but he's doing these things in the morning, like a Facebook Live where he just drinks coffee and talks jiu-jitsu.
Right.
He did a Zoom the other day where he shared he broke down a jiu-jitsu match
Right.
and streamed that.
Yeah.
So
And there's plenty to do at the same time. I just don't, when it comes to the people that are trying to build like, these online platforms, to be able to launch it and sell memberships. Like I saw a post the other day, like, oh, I just sold a mom and a kid. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like, are they, how much are they really gaining out of that? The time invested in it is a lot. I just don't see a lot of return when it comes to why are they going to pick me over name any other like super high level black belt that's doing the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? When
exactly.
it's a digital age where they can hop on and they can go to Galval's Zoom class or they can find it on YouTube or whatever, like what's going to draw them into me? What's going to draw them into you? Like you're still going to have some specific members, but I just feel like there's too much out there.
There is a lot out there, and with the downtime now, it's like there's an oversaturation in a sense, and there is some good stuff. I'll tell you who's putting out some kick-ass workouts, and I'm gonna try and have them on the podcast. But Daniel O'Brien, he's putting out some amazing. He did this tennis ball workout with the jab and double jab.
Oh, really?
That was and jab cross. It was amazing, and then he's kicking and different things. He's a Taekwondo guy too, but he's high level jiu-jitsu guy, man. He's the dude who did the tournament blindfold.
Oh, okay.
Right. And he hit like a ball. He's famous for hitting the ball and chain arm bar.
Right.
He's good.
Yeah.
But he's been putting out some good workouts. And Greg Nelson is.
Mm-hmm.
He's been putting out some killer shadow boxing workouts on his like personal Facebook and stuff. I'm just like, I can't believe that you're creating this content for free.
Right. Yeah. And it's getting, at the same time, it's just getting those people to tune in, with what's going on. Like, I admit it, like even my personal motivation's been kind of like, because my routine is off. Right.
It's hard. It's hard to have a schedule. That's like, I'm doing better with it because I have these podcasts scheduled like every day.
Right.
B, I'm teaching online. So I appropriate like a few hours of that every day of just like filming lectures, doing research, stuff like that, putting stuff on the learning platform. But I'm able to stay busy, but man, exercise, doing the Zooms at the gym. But I mean, my day's staying pretty full, but if it wasn't like, if I wasn't doing all this other stuff, I wish I would have been doing while I was working. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And it's, it's staying busy. Right. But again, for me, a lot of it's just that working out time of like, going to the gym, getting those rolls in. I mean, I've been doing a little bit here and there just to keep the mind fresh, but it's not like you're
have you been doing any other, like, have you been hitting weights, machines?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit. I got a home gym. So in the garage, it's built out pretty decent. So I'm doing that. But again, it's, it's too easy to go out there and just turn around and come back in. I'm very precise when it comes to like, I'm going to wake up at 7. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to come home and go teach my class,
Yeah.
So just that schedule base of, and part of that's that whole military in me, right? Like I've got to have like, a lot of my stuff isn't like on the fly, right? Like I want my day planned out. I want my week kind of planned out. Things are going to come.
I know, man. There's like, I mean, I had a 6-hour window, and then I just, a few months ago started around November, started getting up at 4.
Right.
And so from like 4 to 6, what I would do is I refer to the 4 to 5 period as getting my shit together. It's like where I let the dogs out and drink coffee and take my probiotic and get hydrated and,
Right.
maybe hit the foam roll, whatever I need to do. Then I go work out. And
Right.
then I'll come back home. I'll have already showered. I'll have my work clothes on. I usually have like an hour to chill after
Yeah.
that. So I may work during that time or whatever, but that whole routine was gone. And then the 6 hour block after that of when I was on campus, my commute to campus, gone. So,
Right.
but I've been staying pretty busy, man. Today I did tons of like just research, working on these couple of lectures. Man, it's like I've been talking with this mentor of mine who I took Arkansas history with. He's one of the authors of the book. And he's a wild dude. But he's been helping me with just this and that for the course, which is awesome, man. I mean, to say I got the guy that is like one of the pioneer of the textbook and everything helping me with my class, it's very reassuring. But that's been nice. And man, this little downtime's allowed me to have times to do things like that. To start, I've been wanting to get an article published for some time, and do more writing projects, and I'm working on that. I interviewed a guy for the Arkansas Encyclopedia, so I'm excited about that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just ready for jiu-jitsu to return, just like everybody else. It's just kind of it's gonna be different, man. It's I don't say it with negativity. I just say it with there's gonna be those outlying people that just have that fear and anxiety about it and just don't want to come back to it.
Are you saying some people are not gonna want to get their eyes sweated in?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh man,
that time
right?
when you got your guard pass, you're like, oh man, I screwed up. You get knee on belly, man, I really screwed up. They passed him out, and it's just that big sweaty dude of just all that stuff running down off their head and on the face. To me, I don't care, right? But that average new white belt, or even the person that's training 6 months, so like, maybe this isn't for me.
Oh, dude, here's one that happened the other day with me, but happens on rare occasions. Is closed guard. I broke somebody's posture down, and I like had their elbows in.
Right.
Like when I did it, like so they couldn't. They're doing like dring style of like locking the hips out, right?
Yeah.
So like their hands are stuck there. So they come down and like our faces touch. So we basically kiss each other.
Yeah.
Like lip on lip, but it's like
mustache gets away, beard gets
yeah. I mean, weirder stuff's happened, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever train with Daniel Garcia? Brazilian dude.
Yeah, he broke 3 of my ribs when I was a white belt.
Dude, he made me cry one time. Oh.
Yeah, my kid was. I tell people the story. My kid was 3 days old, bro. 3 days old. And I'm like, oh, I need to get out of the house and go train. And Danny was getting ready for something, and Daniel was in town. And
it's probably the 2012 Worlds.
Yeah,
or Brazilian Nationals rather.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think I was still a white belt, so it might have been a little bit prior to that event. But dude, like threw an armbar off of mount or something, and literally 3 ribs popped. I still got the tusks.
Man, I got one like that from rolling with Brandon Quick. And it was so oddly incidental. I'll tell you what happened is he was waiting to truck me.
Right.
But I was in like a referee position on all fours. And I turned one way. And I guess because he had my hips locked in, it popped out. But it wasn't even anything he did. He wasn't like cranky. It was just a weird incidental thing. But after that, man, and it plagued me, but I still, like, while I lay flat on the surface, belly down, I noticed that shit.
Still feel it.
Man, what was I going to say about Daniel Garcia? I don't remember. He was a demented dude. What were we talking about before that? It slipped my mind.
Yeah, I don't know what we were talking about. You just asked. Well, we were talking about getting sweat in the face and.
Yeah. Daniel would always refer to north-south as 69 guard. like one time, Johnny Wester, I believe, was there too.
Yeah.
And I've heard him tell the story as well. But and I was, and it may have been the same class, may have been a separate class, but to my knowledge, same one he's talking about. Because he was there at Bentonville, like he stayed there for like a few months, and he did a couple of seminars at my location. So I trained with him quite a bit, but he was teaching one day, and he's like, "All right, guys, 69 gods." And we're like, "Whoa, dude, you can't call it that. It's called North South." And he's like, "Shut up, stupid. 69 God." And we're like, 69 God, dude. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, woo.
Whatever you
But yeah, dude, one time so I was defending, he was trying to choke me, right? No-gi. And I was just like, I'll just do this. I'll just do just like a Home Alone, like Kevin McAllister did. And he choked me anyway, like over my fingers like this, and like flexed my teeth in, dude. Like I felt like I remember him, like it made my eyes water. That's why I said it made me cry.
Yeah. That's why I tried.
It was wild.
Yeah. And I tried telling, again, as an instructor and stuff, we play jujitsu, right? And it's, there's times where we just got to turn it on. But it's like training with those guys, like there was no level of like, okay, let me go at 70%. Like it was always 180. Like, I'm going to jack you up, plain and simple. Quick story. It was funny, man. Tim, when I first started, Lefay was always in there. Right? Well, he just came out to the gym. He was out here doing some stuff a couple months ago.
Cool.
And he hadn't trained, dude, like since his back stuff. But it was just funny, like seeing it come full circle where I could just like whoop his ass without, because I just remember walking into drinks, like just getting murdered by that guy, like every day for 6 months straight.
I did a weeping seminar one time, and Tim was my partner for part of it. And I remember him doing like, how Dring will show the arm bar, but it's like he goes below the elbow.
Right.
I remember like under the armpit. I remember Tim wrenching down and like showing, explaining it to somebody on me, and I was like, ah! It was brutal, dude. But yeah, that guy was tough as nails. He was a slab of iron, man.
Yep. But it was, again, that's to revert or to change the topic. It's like injuries, you know what I mean? That you just can't come back from. And his back and neck and stuff was stuff that just kind of limited his return to jiu-jitsu. And that's why I try to stress, the stacking and being careful because, I just don't want it to ruin it for anybody else or for me, right? I want to be able to train as long as I can, and stay healthy.
For sure. So what do you think about this idea? So like I've been studying the hell out of these 10th planet warm-ups. And the first, there's 8 sets of them, right? So the first set is all emphasized on the Granby roll.
Right.
So and there's 4 sets. So it'd be like A, 1, 2, 3, and 4, B, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yep. But like A1 is the only one to my knowledge. It's just solo drilling. It's like, hey, do it from your back, finish on your back. Do it from your knees, finish on your knees. And then incorporates it into techniques and that rest of that series for like flow and chain drills and then like later on. But man, I'll tell you, through studying that, and then like a few of the guard passes where you like pick people's ankles up, like having that action done to you, like, man, I feel like actually so much less likely to be injured because I'm studying the hell out of and trying to understand these Granbys and incorporate them and can have more control and over my body and be active with them and use them in my roles. Right. That I actually think that will probably bring about injury prevention versus through education. Like just basically like, oh, I don't do that move because you might get injured, stacked on your neck. But it's like, man, that move for me has always been the key to like when you get stacked on your neck.
No, for sure. And it's teaching and it's, it's getting them, it's the awareness, right? Of like knowing when it's too late or when I need to do the Granby, when I need to bail out of the position.
Yeah. And that's what I've been taking away is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. And the 10th planet stuff, like I train with these guys. We've got a good 10th planet gym in Tucson and I go down there to their open mats. I go down there and take their classes, like, good friends with the instructor. On a level where I can go in there and train and, but I love, their jiu-jitsu, it's just different. Right. But I think I don't want to say that it's young guy jiu-jitsu, but in a way, like I feel like it's just a little bit of the younger crowd when it comes to that style of jiu-jitsu. It's tough, I think, to teach some of that stuff initially to a guy in their 40s or 50s. And that's just my take on it.
No, for sure. For sure. It's not one of those things that I would say is for everyone. And then I'll say even like certain demographics within, it doesn't matter the age.
Right.
Like you could be 25, but 6'1" and 220.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of large guys that come to our noon class, and teaching them some of the twister stuff and some of the fancier techniques that are in that 10th planet system. But man, it's just a different flavor. Like what I'm wanting to do is just integrate them as a like 10% subset of what we do. Hey guys, do a blah blah blah.
Right.
All right, now we're doing the core class.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've gone down there and taken the classes. I love their warm ups, and I mean, it's good stuff. And there has to be change, right? So, I catch myself some days where it's, somebody asked me how long I've been doing this, and June is literally 10 years. So at the end of the day, it's not that long. I mean, it's a good while, but compared to some others. But sometimes we get in that mindset where we still do some of the stuff that we did in the very beginning. It has purpose, right? But we've always got to expand and build and just add to it, because just like you say or anybody else, like jiu-jitsu is endless, right? I mean, I don't think somebody's always going to be recreating something, but a lot of that initial warm-up stuff is, people get away from it, right? I've traveled all over, and there's a lot of places just don't do it, right? They're just like, all right, let's just jump right into the technique, which is fine depending on how much class you have. But man, those movement drills, the 10th planet style, like all that stuff has purpose behind it. And that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, and like ultimately what I want to do on the other side of because right now we're having to learn all the drills, and we're like through the the instructors are through the E series. So
Right.
we're 5 of 8 in, but I want to basically be able to have like, hey, we're going to do some sort of calisthenic body movement part of class for 5 to 7 minutes, and we're going to do a drill.
Right.
5 to 7. So like the first 15 minutes of class is kind of calisthenics, solo movement, partner drill, flow chain drill, 10th planet stuff. And then we have like a core part of class and then some rolling. The new schedule in the evening, what I'm doing is 3 nights a week, we do an hour class,
right,
with situational rolling, but after the core class, and we'll do some regular rolling sometimes, but we're going to bow out and then do free rolls. So it's an hour and a half class, but the first hour is kind of like what I'm talking about with these warm-ups, core studies, some situational rolling, and the free rolls after that for people that want to get that in.
Right. Yeah, it's just balance. You know what I mean? Most of my classes, actually all my jiu-jitsu classes are only an hour. That's
what I've done for a long time.
Yeah, I've just been, and again, we're actually, when we move, I might be able to restructure and run 2 classes at the same time. It just depends on, I just don't want to overrun one class to the other. My kids program is obviously the biggest, so that's always a concern scheduling wise. But at the same time, an hour and a half jiu-jitsu class, some days when guys have been working all day, like they just, by the end of it, they go to roll and they have nothing left, So.
Yeah, for sure. That one thing that, in thinking that, and then thinking that like a lot of my members, well, just think about us, man. I mean, well, not me. I don't have kids, but you do, right? I got to get home and see Pepper Man,
Right.
But most people, man, I don't want to be being like, hey, Randy Melton, who's in his later 30s and has a wife and 2 kids at home, like, dude, yeah, jiu-jitsu starts at 8.
Right.
It's like, so we've made all our jiu-jitsu start at 5:45, and
all classes start at 6. So we're on.
Yeah. So you get out early enough to still have dinner and spend time with your family. That's a big goal for me.
Yeah. The striking, I mean, we're out of the gym by 8:00. Our striking classes are from 7 to 8 every night. Sometimes
7:30 is when we're out.
Yeah. Well, it splits a little bit, 7:15 to 8:15 certain nights of the week, because I had to split some of my kids' classes. So, but again, the schedule is important, just where it's, where it kind of fits everybody and keeping it balanced. So, but looking forward, I mean, we need to expand. We outgrew our space. So really looking forward to that. Hopefully everything works out and can knock that out pretty quick.
Yeah, good problems. That's what everybody always says.
Yeah, it's a good problem. I mean, again, this stuff kind of put a little hamper on it, but you know, things happen for a reason. And I think everybody will bounce back. There's going to be some.
I think
There's
so.
going to be some that don't. I mean, that's just a reality, right? When it comes to martial arts in general, jiu-jitsu in general, there's just
Well, in business, man.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah, for sure. You know, there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of people that just can't recover, but you know, the ones that do will just be better afterwards.
Randy Mountain, who I just mentioned, his ears must be burning. He just texted me, man. I saw my phone go off here on the table.
It's funny. So that's been about it here, man. Just waiting to see what happens and get back to jiu-jitsu, get back to life, and
Yeah.
get back
Well,
to
bro, tell me a little bit about the jiu-jitsu community in and around Tucson where you're at. Like, not just like tell me about who you're plugged in with, but also tell me what it's like regionally. Like, you know, I mean, what's it like in the state? People around you talk about training with 10th Planet. Like,
yeah.
how's everything going?
For sure. So, I mean, it started off as funny. I was having a little conversation with my business partner yesterday of, you know, when he first got here, he took over, I think, 2008, 2009. It was so small, right? There wasn't that many academies around, right? You didn't have a lot to compete with. And we've added it up recently. And I mean, right now, just in the Tucson, you know, area, we've got some outlying towns. Like I'm about 25 minutes from downtown Tucson. There's 40 plus academies, man. Like 40 plus gyms that, you know, granted most, you know, there's quite a few that aren't jiu-jitsu specific, but that offer jiu-jitsu, you know, and the amount of teams out here has just grown, right? When, you know, even when I first came out here, there wasn't that many like big name teams in the area. Well, now like Aries has 3 or 4 academies out here. Soul Fighters has a couple, you know, so there's just a huge a pool of places to train. It's one of what I've noticed so far, like the best when it comes to cross training and allowing like people to go to another gym. You know, you've got a few gyms that are like, I just don't want you going over there. And we, you know, we both know that's just kind of ego of, you know, the instructor themselves not wanting to allow their students to learn from somebody else or just roll with anybody else. But man, I think there's, you know, between 15 and 20 community open mats a week. We got a Facebook page that has a PDF file with every, you know, where they're at, times, you know, so the opportunities to train, like there's people that I think legit don't even have a membership somewhere that just go to all the open mats and get, you know, I'm serious, you know what I mean? Ask questions. Like I've been in an open mat. I'm like, where are you training? They're like, oh, I'm not training right now. And they're like, well, can you help me with this? I'm like, sure. You know, like I don't mind. But you know,
Sandbagging at its finest.
yeah, right. But it's a huge, you know, Arizona as a whole, like, man, just has some amazing talent. You know, Phoenix, you know, if we have 40, I'm going to guess they have 80 to 100. You know, there's so much jiu-jitsu everywhere. I mean, you know, 10th Planet teams, you've got, you know, Kyle Terra, you've got all the Aries guys, Soul Fighters, Taquino, like they're all hubbed in Phoenix now or Scottsdale or that area. So that whole
Is Gustavo Dantas in Phoenix?
yeah, he's still in Tempe. He's kind of, from my understanding, like he doesn't teach very much anymore, but he still has, you know, he's still Novignon and, you know, it's got quite a few affiliates. A lot of people have left. I mean, it's just part of the game, you know, that I've noticed since I've been here that were, you know, under him and have gone elsewhere. But that's not to him specific. That's jiu-jitsu as a whole. You know, people have different goals. They have different ambitions and, you know, but as an overall, like I think it's one of the top contenders when it comes to like, you know, talent, you know, obviously East Coast, West Coast has a lot, but it's become a hub of like just amazing talent, you know, so many MMA fighters. I mean, Ben Henderson lives down there. Like, you know, there's so many big names that are fighting out of like the lab for on the MMA side to get to the UFC. Got a couple guys in Tucson that have made it to the UFC or, you know.
Yeah. Well, they're starting to have UFCs, or well, I mean, I think they have been for a while, but
Yeah.
I think that when Crone Gracie fought, wasn't that in Phoenix?
Yeah, I was in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to that?
No, I didn't. Man, honestly, like people ask me, like, are you into it? I'm like, dude, I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched a UFC fight. Like, my interest.
I don't watch, but maybe 3 or 4 a year.
Yeah. I mean, my interest in it just, isn't, I guess, what it never really was, but I just focused on jiu-jitsu. It's the same thing in the academy, striking instructor wants to bring in, we were talking about doing a little bit of MMA stuff, and man, I'm just not really into it. It's just not the market that I want to do, or, I'd rather just teach the jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and boxing. If they want to do something like that, that's fine. But pure MMA, like, to me, I'm not into it.
Man, I've tried to find a way to make it work where either we facilitate it or we have a space for it. And on the new schedule, I do have MMA on the schedule, so we'll just see how that works.
Yeah.
But I hope that we can have some people come out, because I mean, I like being able to tie it all together.
Yeah. No, it's good. And again, it's, my thing always is, maybe it's the selfishness of it, but it's like, it takes so much time and energy out of just doing your pure business stuff when the guys are trying to, like, go to fights, get ready for fights. There's a lot of time dedicated, and it's not always about the money, right? But at the end of the day, like, time is money, and I'm investing my time in you, and I'm not getting a lot in return. To me, it's not important to say, hey, I got this guy to the UFC. Like, to Matt, I could care less, right? Like, I really didn't do that. You did that yourself,
For sure, man.
But jiu-jitsu out here, MMA, like, it's been great. I've really, as soon as I got here, like, as most people know, I stayed with Danny. Like, there was to me, in my mindset, like, there's no reason to jump over and look to get promoted elsewhere. There's, like I said, my business partner, he's a 2nd degree black belt. I mean, he can still promote people. It's just, got to thrive.
Who's like you guys' ranking instructor?
So locally, I mean, in Tucson, David Riley is, undisputed. He's 2nd degree black belt. And then he falls directly underneath Sean Hammonds. So, it was great. I'd trained with him a little bit when he had come out and done promotions, but I was able to go to their team training camp. I think it was in February.
Did Eric go to that?
No, I didn't see him there. But
yeah,
dude,
he's big on Sean Hammonds. He's close to him too.
Yeah, it was. Well, Sean had actually brought up Eric a little bit in conversation, just talking about his judo and stuff. Because I was obviously talking about Danny and how we all kind of tie together. But dude, I had such an amazing time. Like, the day, like the actual seminar day, like 60 plus black belts, like 350 people on these mats that were just like jam packed. I'd never been to like an event that big after doing it for 10 years. Obviously the tournament is so much different than, we were running all these little mini seminars with that many people on the mats. It's pretty amazing. And dude, everybody, it was just maybe it's that Southern hospitality, right? But everybody was like just super chill. Like, it was just a really great time.
Nice.
Got my ass kicked a little bit, kicked some ass,
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Every time I've ever been involved.
Yeah, Sean's tough, dude. I mean,
dude, I've heard, and I mean, I've watched him roll too,
yeah.
And I've watched him be in some wars as well.
Yeah.
So, just on different highlight reels and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just anxiously waiting for jiu-jitsu to return and get back into it. I love the community out here. It's been really great in Tucson, and no complaints about that. I mean, there's, just like anything else, there's drama everywhere, but it's staying out of it.
What's it been like being a black belt for you, man? Do you have any philosophical wisdom to impart since your promotion?
Yeah, I mean, just like anybody else, right? You kind of tie that belt on you, and everybody kind of comes and looks for answers, and thinks that you have the cure-all, answer-all sometimes. you know, and it's just being able to step back and be like, you know, I don't know everything, right? I can show you what I know. I can help you with some stuff. And, you know, and I'm honest, right? Like there's some things I don't do. I don't berimbolo. Like it's just not, you know, if somebody wants to come learn that from me, you're not going to learn it. But I've got 4 other black belts downtown that can most definitely teach you the right way to do it. So it's been great, man. It's been, you know, it's different, right? I mean, because we both kind of came up, you were always, you know, you obviously started training before me, but for me, it's just getting to that goal, right? And it's something I never set, right? Like I was like, man, I'm not, you know, being a black belt, like that didn't even cross my mind, right? You know,
You had
so.
like done wrestling, and we're trying to get like fill that void, right?
No, I was kind of, I mean, the story is, man, I had a guy at work that was like, man, come check out this jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh, okay. I had really no idea of what it was. I'd watched UFC, but I had no real understanding of it. And it wasn't really to fill a void. It was like he invited me over there. After about 2-3 weeks, I was hooked. I competed about a month in, and then he quit. You know, so still, even to this day, like we're still friends on Facebook because I worked with him, and I still tag him in the posts, like, "Hey, bro, I got my purple belt. Hey, bro, I got my black belt. See where you could be." You know,
That's funny, dude.
giving him a hard time, but no, I mean, getting the black belt's been great. It's, you know, I never over focused on it, but once I got it, it's like, okay, cool. Now, like, you've really got to hone in on, you know, the teaching skills, being able to provide, like, you know, for me, it's the next generation, right? If we don't do a good job as a black belt, like teaching and fundamentally like instilling, not, I don't want to say old school, but fundamental jujitsu, like it's been, it can be tough. And that's been my goal, right? Like ever since I got out with black belt is like, all right, I'm going to make sure I instill some pure, like, you know, nothing fancy, just let's learn jujitsu, you know, so
For
that's been
sure.
my refocus.
Yeah, man. One thing I'm going to be doing, talking about fundamental jiu-jitsu, I did a private lesson recently with Jack. I'm going to be breaking down some videos, some stuff that he taught me, but I zoomed that.
Oh, nice.
And I filmed it on my phone. I'm kind of editing them together.
Yeah.
And we did a podcast the other day. It's going to come out tomorrow.
Nice.
But I may tie all of that stuff together. And he's been on the podcast a couple of times, and I've vlogged about him. I may make a little mini documentary about it. I've been doing these little docuseries for our YouTube channel. Are you YouTubing at all for your location?
In what aspect?
Well, like putting out any content. You said you were putting your Zoom classes out for people. Are you doing like instructionals, or do you have like a YouTube presence, anything like that?
No, so all we're really doing is we're taking the virtual classes, and then our advertising guy basically puts it into, you know, just edits the Zoom a little bit because we start or end late, and
Sure.
Google Docs, and just share a link with everybody so they can go access it. And I know Chris had, I can't remember the name of the little website that he made, Monkey something.
MailChimp?
No, not Mail. Carlino just did something where you could organize everything, but you still need to link it through YouTube. And, you know, for me, I don't have, it's not that I can't create the content. We just haven't created a lot of it. Right. And to me, sometimes it's too saturated. I mean, I kind of stick to me, it's all about, you know, gaining those new members. And, you know, I just don't see myself gaining that way. Like I don't need to be relevant, I guess, on YouTube. Maybe that's the wrong mindset. I don't know.
Man, for me, it's been, I get a lot of students that watch the videos, so I feel like they get more access to me.
Okay.
Even though like the noon class folks, like, dude, because I'm at the university, I never see them.
Right.
But and two, for my instructors. It's like I feel like it's more beneficial as a retention tool.
Okay.
For members than a recruiting tool.
And that makes sense. I mean, our first 2 years open, you know, business partner would teach Tuesday, Thursday mornings, then Wednesday night. So they saw him. But now that I'm retired, you know, even prior to retirement, like, dude, I teach every single jiu-jitsu class except for one a week, you know, which I'm still there, but I've got one of our purple belt world champions that comes in and teaches wrestling and his gi side of jiu-jitsu. So the reason I haven't done that is because I feel like they get enough FaceTime, right? Where they see me enough. I'm in the gym, there's not a lot of that disconnect. They're still learning straight from me. So just to go out and,
Exactly.
Create a bunch of more content is just tough.
Yeah,
Like,
what it was for me for a long time.
yeah, I see the point. I see the purpose of it and why it would work. It's just, even for us, like, dude, your jujitsu program on your adult side is probably huge compared to my location. I mean, I'm maybe I think I have 20 in our jujitsu program on the adult side, maybe a little bit more, and then you compare it to our downtown where there's like, you know, 250, 300 maybe,
Wow. Yeah.
on the jiu-jitsu side. I mean, we'll have a promotions. There'll be 100 plus people on the mats.
That's wild. Yeah, we're probably around 40 to 50, give or take, for adult jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I could make some of that stuff for the kids, but at the same time, it's, I want that interpersonal, like, I'm more direct and do it that way. And again, the YouTube's not supplementing learning. It's just supplementing. Maybe they missed something this week, they missed
Sure.
last week. They can go back and look at it. So
Yeah.
I just need to get better at time management. That's the problem.
Yeah, man, for me, at first I was doing it a lot where I was catching videos in class, and I still do
Okay.
that sometimes.
Yeah.
But then I just built in a time period. Like, I've started training with all my instructors during different times. But before that, one of my instructors, he would just always come in certain time Sunday morning every week for that hour. We would film, enough videos to edit and spread out for a week,
Right.
and it was like what was being taught also.
Yeah.
And we kind of stopped that a little bit when we were moving, but I had a backlog of stuff, and I still do.
Right.
And we filmed probably 50 videos
Okay.
because we were doing daily fitness kickboxing videos. I've done some jiu-jitsu videos, shadow boxing videos, and man, when you're spreading them out and there are all these different programs, yoga and stuff for kids, it stacks up over a few week period.
Right. No, it's good. Yeah, we've just been, even right now, we've just been doing little minute 30 clips of like technique of the day.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff you posted
Yeah, just
on
little.
on Facebook, I think.
Yeah, Facebook or Instagram of just, short little clips, just kind of keep people engaged a little bit. I don't expect them to go home and drill the De La Hiva we just showed, but maybe it'll be in their mind for the next time when they roll.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, bro, it was great catching up with you, Matt.
You too,
I
buddy.
appreciate you lending your downtime
Oh yeah,
to the podcast.
absolutely. And I don't know when I'll be in Arkansas next, but hopefully sometime over the summer, dude. I'll definitely make the trip. And
Well, man, I'm not teaching this summer, so I'm actually this summer I'm gonna take tons of adventures. I'm gonna do lots of training. I'm gonna do lots of cross training.
nice.
So I'm looking forward to it. I've taught both summers that the last 2 years since I've been
Right.
teaching college. So I'm looking forward to having this summer to just chill and work
Yeah.
on projects and have fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely be taking a road trip out there. I've been stopping and been staying out in Dallas for a couple of days. Got some teams that I've been training with over there. That's just amazing. And I just want to enjoy it, right? Like I just want to get out, and train with whoever I can, and get better, man. At the end of the day.
For sure, man.
So,
Me too. Well, bro, I'll talk to you soon, man. Have a great day, Matt.
all right, Brian. Thanks, buddy.
All right. We'll see you.